welcome. I guess it's the first
Thank
thing.
you.
Yeah. Obviously, your knowledge of the Timbers and what they've done, and being a part of that now.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, obviously, being an older guy, I got to kind of make a decision a little bit, where I wanted to steer myself and want to be a part of a winning organization and a club that had stability. And so obviously, being in the Western Conference for years and playing in some huge matchups against a lot of the guys that are now my teammates, I couldn't be happier to find myself in what I think is the ideal setting and situation for myself.
Yeah, what was the deciding factor? I'm sure you had a few different places to look at.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously, I think the style and the way a team plays. I think that they have some very creative players. Guys that like to get on the ball. I've played against these guys for years. Whether it's Chara, Valeri, or Nagby, and these guys in the middle. So they have some incredibly technically gifted players. But not just that. Really a team that has stability and has been successful. Even though they finally broke through and won the championship last year, you can really see that there's been a core group here together. And I know from being at RSL for so many years, that translates usually to some sort of success. And so looking at not just that, but the incredible support and fan base, what I think is a great city to live. All those things really. When I look at all the boxes to check off, there wasn't not many negatives I could find at all.
This is a team with a pretty deep midfield, and it's obviously going to be a lot of competition for the starting spots and roles that guys are going to play. Is that something that you relished, having that competition?
I've had to compete for every game, every minute I've ever had in this league. So when I was a rookie, I had to compete. When I was at RSL, I certainly had to compete and break through. And so, yeah, they have some, like I said, they have some very, very special players. Guys that I would say are some of the better players positionally, maybe in MLS. But at the same time, I know how it goes. You need to have a deep squad in this league. Whether I'm starting or coming off the bench, I'm certain that I can help the team in a lot of different ways. And at the same time, it's my job to be a good pro, whether I start or I don't. And like you said, I want to compete with these guys, and training is super important for me to get sharp. And so I look forward to competing. The time that comes my way is kind of on my shoulders, is the way I look at it.
We talk about coming here. Does it help having somebody that you know well? Nat Borchers, obviously, you've been in the league for a long time, but the two of you go back to RSL. Has that been a bit of a helpful thing so far?
I think especially in the beginning and the transition, to kind of just, because it's a lot of unknown. I mean, each club is different, how the day-to-day process works. But to be able to speak to a guy 6 weeks out, and kind of pick his brain a little bit and see how things work, I think it certainly helped me in my decision. And I've known Caleb for a while as well. And so all those things added up to me thinking that it was a good situation. But it does. And I was so happy last season from that to see a guy who's been so consistent in this league since day one, to really give them some solid foundation in the back and some leadership. And I look to add some of that as well, hopefully.
Ned's won. He's a winner for sure. He's won 2 MLS Cups, and great guy to share the locker room with. He's really underrated, I think, in this league for his talents and what he does. And you can put him in any spot in the midfield, and he's going to do his job. And I think he's great with regard to our possession game mostly. I mean, he just knows when to keep the ball and when to go forward. And he's going to be a guy that I think is going to get a lot of minutes this year based on all the games we have.
And for you, your off-season a little different than the rest of the guys here, but what was your off-season like?
Yeah, well, my off-season was longer, pretty much longer than these guys. I actually, dealt with some injury issue last season, so I actually, had a surgery towards the very end of my season, which was, basically 12 weeks ago. So I'm still finding my footing a little bit to be thrown back into it, and I would think from previous years, if I remember, when going deep into the playoffs, guys are sharp day one, the first week, because they haven't had much time off, and there's that confidence there left over from last season. And so I would think this first week would look maybe sharper than most other preseasons I've been involved in.
Off the field, did you get to do anything interesting in the offseason?
I obviously was rehabbing, trying to focus on that. My family and I go back from the Chicagoland area. So we go back there and enjoy the beautiful weather, December and January, which is super special. But no, obviously just chill out with the family a little bit. And I knew I was going to be on the move, so really try to make a good decision, what fit not just myself but my family the best. And I'm happy I waited and found myself in a great opportunity.